Hello and welcome to the Advanced Preparatory Grade D exam sheet in violin playing for the Victoria College examinations. For this exam sheet I'll be looking at two exercises, explaining how to play the scales for this exam, and also will choose two pieces that I think are very suitable to play and practice. So let's start straight away with the exercise 1. Now the exercise 1 is in the key of D and also has in quavers. So just make sure you don't rush your crotchet counts so that the quavers are too fast for you to play. Exercise 1. Now moving on to exercise 2, the exercise 2 is in the key of D minor. So you've got to remember to flatten all your F notes as opposed to the F sharps that you played in exercise 1. It's also in 3/4 time, so you have to count in groups of 3. It also has a tie in the middle as well, which is worth 4 counts. The other thing worthy of mention as well is that it has a B flat in the key signature. Now because it has a B flat in the key signature, you're actually bringing your first finger back from the B to the B flat. So you have to play quite flat whenever you play your A1 finger. Exercise 2. Moving on to the scales. Now for the scales in this examination, you are asked to play scales in separate bows, but also in slurred bows, 2 notes to a bow. So you're quite familiar with doing separate bows as you've done this in previous grades, but for the first time you do have to play in slurred bows also. So I'll start by playing the G major scale in separate bows, and then I'll go on to the D major scale and do this in slurred bows. And finally I'll also do the A major scale in slurred bows. All the arpeggios still continue in separate bows. And the D major scale in slurred bows, 2 notes to a bow. And the arpeggio, separate bows. Finally, A major scale in slurred bows. And separate bows for the arpeggio. So moving on to the pieces. And the pieces that I recommend are Realistic Reggae and Joko. Now the Realistic Reggae has a con brio marking at the beginning, which means with vigour. So this has to be played quite strong and quite strident, and that's why you've got a forte marking at the top. At the end of the piece, you've also got a DCL fine sign, and that means go back to the beginning and then finish where the fine is. So you finish the piece part way through, halfway through. Look out for the tied notes as well, and there are one or two little tricky cross rhythms, so just listen carefully to the recording so you can hear how to play these. Realistic reggae. And the last piece is Joko. Now Joko has an interesting little jazzy slide in. So you've got a D sharp written as an Appoggiatura. And so after you've played that D sharp, you just slide your finger upwards so you end up on the E, like this. There's your D sharp, and then you move to the E. See, so it's, and you do that quite a lot through the whole of the piece, okay? There is also an Appoggiatura as well, G sharp to A. Now, what I suggest you do with this one, you can either use your third finger for this, or you can use your fourth and slide up, or your third, at your choice, okay? You've also got the same thing going up to the E string on a D sharp to E. So there's your E, there's your D sharp, so you can either use your third finger or fourth, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So here's Joko. And that completes sheet D.